right, welcome back to Top 5 Vinyl, where we show love to vinyl owners. Today I'm here with Cesar. How you doing, man?
Doing really well. Glad to be here. Stoked.
Awesome, awesome. Before we get started, where can the people find you on Instagram?
You can find me at Cesar Perez Rosas, CesarPerezRosas.
Nice. All right, cool. And also, before we get started, everybody make sure to subscribe, like, tell your friends, all that cool YouTube stuff you guys got to do anyway. And with that being said, Caesar, can you tell me the last vinyl record that you bought and where'd you buy it from?
Mm. Okay, so I definitely bought it from Amoeba Music in Hollywood,
Mm,
California. I live in LA, so that's probably my go-to record store. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was probably um, a house or techno 12-inch. I'm a vinyl DJ, mostly spinning house and techno, so probably something along those lines. You know what? It might have been this minimal techno producer that I'm a big fan of. His name is Steve O'Sullivan. It's
mm,
probably something by him.
okay. Now that the record store that you went to, was that like your favorite go-to, or that's just the one you happen to buy that from? Do you have a favorite record store?
Man, there's a lot of really, really good record stores in Los Angeles. You know, I could name drop a few. I like going underground records. They're in Little Tokyo.
Mm,
I love High Fidelity in the West Adams neighborhood, but Amoeba in Hollywood, definitely the biggest and widest selection of any record store in LA. So
mm.
that's usually my go. And I live pretty close, so
Okay, that's cool.
usually my go-to. Yeah.
Right. Growing up, was there a record player in the house?
Oh yeah.
Mom, dad, how'd that work out?
It was my dad's record player that we had in the living room for a long time. And then he moved on to, let's get a CD player, sound system, like bigger thing. And I was like, well, and I think he was going to get rid of the record
Mm,
player. So I said, actually, can we just have it in my room instead? You know, and I think that's kind of how I got into it. So yeah,
mm.
growing up, it was there for the family until it became mine.
Nice, nice. That's pretty similar to my story. But
Yeah.
when you had the record, before it got in your room and it was public, was it off limits to you, or could you actually touch the record player?
I think it was off limits. I
Mm,
gotta be honest. I think
mm,
the records were definitely off limits.
yeah.
I think I remember, man. I remember like laying on the floor on the carpet and like getting real close to
Mm,
the speakers. Um, but not I never touched the sound system, the knobs or anything, the volume, and definitely couldn't touch the records.
all right, right, okay. Uh, of any of the five that you're gonna show today, have you seen any of them live?
Yeah. I've seen
Mm,
three of them live.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And can you tell me the first vinyl record that you ever bought? Do you remember that?
Wow. Um, I can't put my finger on what the first one I bought was, but I remember my first like trip to
Mm,
a real like record store in San Francisco. Um, and I that was probably that was after I really started getting into records in high school.
mm,
And on that first trip, the one record I bought a few, but the one that like I'll never forget, I picked up and I was like, wow, I need this. Was God Loves Ugly
mm.
by Atmosphere.
Okay.
Um, I was in high school getting into hip hop and Atmosphere was is one of those really accessible, I think, like non super mainstream
Hmm.
pop artists that I gravitated towards, a kind of wordsmithy kind of rapper,
Hmm.
slug. So yeah, I don't know if it was the first one, but it's definitely in like the first in like my first few,
Mm.
definitely in the first year and like in the first stage of me getting into records and
Right.
listening to vinyl, definitely in that.
Okay. All right, cool. And being that this is top 5 vinyl, Caesar, can you show me number 5, the fifth record that you have in front of you.
All right, yeah. Here we go. So, number five, this is called An Awesome Wave
Mm,
by Alt J. They're an indie band from the UK. This is their first album that came, I think it came out in like 2012 or 2013 or something like that. Right when I was getting into college, it was like a few years of me being in college, and like a lot of stuff was going down in my life,
mm,
personal. And this was my soundtrack for everything, like, the highs, the lows.
mm,
Um, I was a theater major in college, so listen to this before auditions, listen to this in celebration for
mm,
landing roles that I really wanted. I listened to it during heartbreaks,
mm,
when I was on, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. This was
mm,
what got me through college.
mm,
And this is actually, I think all of these are going to be non-skip records
mm,
for me, but every single song front to back, it's an experience. So yeah, it's indie music, you know, um, like really kind of unique sounding guitars, really sharp and crisp drums,
mm,
um, really, really catchy hooks, which
mm,
I'm a big fan of. I used to like, collect songs with really, really catchy hooks.
mm, mm.
Um, so this is all of that in one record.
Now that's an interesting cover. Anything on the back? Because the artwork on the front is pretty unique. Oh,
Exact same thing.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's I can actually here take it out and show you the inside. Oh, actually, I completely forgot. This is man, wow, this is taking me back. So this is I can't open it. It is a gatefold cover, but I can't open it. And this is a result of listening to it
Mm-hmm.
one drunken night in college. And I think if I'm remembering correctly, I think I spilled beer
Huh.
on on a few records, and this was one of them, and it kind of just sealed it shut at the
Wow.
bottom.
Okay.
So
Okay. That's a good story.
I'm telling you, this. I listened to this so much in
Mm,
college.
mm. Sounds like a lifeline record. I understand. I get it.
A lifeline record. I've never heard that term, but
I just made it off top of my head, man. I'm just nice like that, you
oh,
know?
I get it though. Yeah, no, it's one of those ones that I keep coming back to it. No
Hmm,
matter
hmm,
what. I always every few years I'll listen to it um again and just be reminded like, wow, I remember all those times, and I'll be listening to it on a bike ride or something, and
hmm,
just have new memories now
hmm.
to attach to it. So
That's
love this
great.
record.
All right, cool. So that was your number five. Let's go ahead and take a look at your number four.
All right. Number four, this
Mm,
is introducing Foxy Shazam.
mm,
Now, this band right here is a really unique blend of hard rock, screamo, and like soft indie rock music. This was a band that I was really, really into in high school. So
mm.
this predates, this is that record before was a college obsession. This is more of a high school obsession for me.
Gotcha.
Um, in those days I was kind of like a punk kid and loved like screamo music and
Mm,
like emo and just like kind of that harsh sound. But this was one of the first records that had that element of like screamo and punky harsh sounds, but they also have a piano player in the
mm,
band, so it had a nice blend of like melodic piano-y and um soft vibes to it, but also had that sort of screamo uh center to it.
mm,
And I actually bought this um at their concert.
mm.
This is the first of the three that I have seen live.
Nice.
So I grew up in Sacramento, California.
Hmm,
There's a venue called the Boardwalk. I think it's still around. But this was kind of like my go-to spot for all like the shows that I wanted to go to.
mm,
It's a really intimate venue, so um, it was really cool to see this band here in particular. And this is probably like 2008 or 2009 that I saw them and bought the record.
mm.
And this is their singer, Eric Sean Nally, and he is like the ultimate showman.
Hmm.
I don't know if he still does this, but he did back in the day, and I witnessed him do this. He would ask the audience to throw cigarettes on the stage, get a whole bunch of them, put them all in his mouth, light this like huge, just light all of them, mouthful of cigarettes, and then eat them. So
What? Okay.
I witnessed him do that.
Okay.
And being a high schooler, super impressionable, I was like, this is like the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Right,
So
right.
you can imagine how it left an impression on me.
Yeah.
So the memories with this one also really amazing. Another super quick story. After the performance, I was hanging out on the patio of the boardwalk, and the band was kind of just there off to the side. And the piano player, his name was Sky. I was like, dude, I just went up to him. I was like, dude, show was amazing. Like, you guys are an incredible band, and we ended up having like a little heart to heart there
Hmm.
for like a good half hour or so. And
Nice.
so cool, really cool experience. Love the record, and of course, it goes back to the memories that I have with it more
Right.
than
That's cool. Okay.
sir.
All right. Nice. All right. So that was your number four.
Number
Let's
four,
take a look at your number three.
number three. Now we're getting into the top three,
The
the
meat
meat and potatoes.
potatoes. There we go.
Damn, we both said meat and potatoes.
Second time we did that.
We're on the same wavelength, like you
Uh-huh.
said. Okay, so this one right here, Francis the Mute by the
Hmm.
Mars Volta. This band, a really, really interesting band. They're I guess you could say I think like it's called post-hardcore.
Hmm.
It's like, it's got that hardcore element, but it also can break down into more, uh, again, softer, more melodic, types of breakdowns and stuff. But really influential band for me. I love this band. They're one of the first bands that I realized like they're Mexican. They're Mexican
Hmm.
American band, and myself being Mexican, I was like, wow, I see myself in them a little bit.
Hmm.
And the first concert I ever went to when I was in middle school was System of a Down.
Hmm.
And this band was opening for them, and I had
Hmm.
never heard of them before, but they took the stage, and they had Mexican flags covering the amps, and I was like, who is this like
Hmm.
group? And I just had no idea, but
Hmm.
they started playing, and they were actually touring this album at the time. Um, and I was just blown away, man. It was incredible. Their songs are like they have some short songs, they have some songs that are like upwards of 15 minutes.
Hmm.
Um, really interesting music. The lead singer sings in Spanish and English too,
Hmm.
so it's a really really cool blend, and they blend different types of Mexican styles into their music as well. So um yeah, this was again, back cover is kind of like the upside down version of the front
Okay. Yep. Yep.
cover.
Okay. I was like, what is that? Okay. Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a really expensive record because I don't know, this is one of these bands that kind of has a lot of lore and legend behind it. Behind them, they've gone through it's also a huge band, so they've gone through lots of different members, and some members have passed away
Hmm.
in like weird, tragic
Hmm.
uh situations. And actually the story behind this album in particular was that the band was on tour, and they stayed at a hotel, and they found a diary, and they just found this random diary, and they started reading through it, and they like found these stories, and they wrote an album out of the stories in this
Hmm.
diary.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so again, another one that a special place in my heart, because my first concert, and I kind of didn't know I was gonna fall in love with this band, but
Hmm.
I love System of a Down, but I kind of like fell in love with them a little bit more.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay. All right, cool. So that
So
was your number three.
number three,
Let us take a look at your number two.
Number two, and so now we've been doing a lot of rock and indie, so I was taking a departure from
Mm,
that with
okay.
Aesop Rock,
Okay.
the Appleseed EP.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Aesop Rock, my favorite hip hop artist of all time, favorite
Mm-hmm.
rapper of all time. Um, if you listen to Aesop Rock, his vocabulary and his flow, his style is just literally unlike any other
Mm-hmm.
hip hop artist that has ever lived. In terms of vocabulary, yeah, like no one can even hold a match up to this guy. He is on another level. Like it's what he and this album this EP, I think it was his second release. He had one before this one that is kind of like very rare to find that music. It might be on YouTube, it might not be, but I don't think it's ever been released aside from like the CDs that he made when it first came out in like 1998 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is from 1999. And it feels very East Coast, feels very New York. He's from New York. Yeah, it's just it's uh actually, and the reason it's my number two because in high school I was like very like staunchly like anti electronic or rap music. I
Okay.
was all about like, guitars and like I said, I was into like punk and like hardcore music and stuff. So I was all about that. And then, but I had a friend that I was in a band with, and he made me a mix CD. And there was a song from this EP, 1000 Deaths, that was
Mm-hmm.
on that mix that he made me. And
Mm-hmm.
it's probably like the first hip hop song I had ever like really listened to. Like that wasn't on the radio, that I voluntarily like heard and was like, wait a minute, I have to listen to this again to get what he's saying, to get the words. And that song in this EP sort of like uh kicked off a lifelong obsession with lyricism.
Mm-hmm.
I before this EP, I didn't really care about the lyrics to a song. I was more about like what those guitars sound like, what the drums sound like, what kind of cool breakdowns they were doing in the song. But this kind of opened up an entirely new facet of what music can offer,
Mm-hmm.
to me. So yeah, big thanks to that friend who
Right.
made me that mix, because without that, I never would have listened to. I never, well, maybe I would have, but it would have been maybe much later in life that I got into hip hop and lyricism, and then that in turn got me into different kinds of electronic music, and now I'm very happy to have a diverse music appreciation,
Always important. Yep. Okay.
thanks to this one right here.
Nice. All right, cool. And for the grand finale, what do we have for number one?
All right, so this one is more of a sentimental listen. So this
Okay.
one here is Bachata Rosa by Juan Luis Guerra and his band for 4.40.
Okay.
So this is Juan Luis Guerra. He's an artist, Latino artist, I think he's from the Dominican Republic. But the reason it's my number one is because, and this goes back to the very beginning of this conversation. This was my dad's record, and
Hmm.
one that I was never allowed to touch.
Right.
And this was the music that sort of like rang through our household
Mm.
every weekend, cleaning on the weekends, making dinners and stuff like that. We during Christmas time, my dad loves Christmas, and he would play a bunch of Christmas music, but then also randomly throw this record on
Hmm.
um, in the mix, and it's just all nostalgia for me. This is
Mm.
my childhood, you
Mm.
know. No skips again on this one. And it is I mean, look at the cover. It's very corny 80s music. This came out in like the early 80s, I think. Um, if you look at the back cover, you can see how they're all dressed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or you know what? Maybe it was early 90s or late 80s or something like that.
If
But
I had to guess, I'm thinking late 80s. If I
Late
had to
80s?
guess, is there a date on the back of that thing?
Yeah, let me see.
The style is throwing me off.
Oh, wow. Yeah. 1990.
Okay. Okay.
1990. Yeah. So you hit the nail on the head there. I was off.
We both did a good job.
Yeah, we got there together.
We got it together.
Um, so yeah, this is my number one. It's
Nice.
all sentimental, heartfelt. A lot. I mean, you can tell by the cover here. It's a lot of love songs, a lot of messages of forlorn love and love lost and love that can never be, and it's all very very dramatic.
Mm,
You know,
mm,
but a super super fun listen, and it's for me it's just my childhood, and so yeah, reminds me of growing up, and but the music is also amazing,
nice.
amazing, very
One more
catchy.
question. One more question.
Yeah,
Does your dad know you have that record right now?
he did, or he does. It was a trade. It
Okay.
was a trade because I found this CD and I said, hey,
Mm,
if I give you this CD, you can listen to it in the car, you put it on your iPod or whatever, but if I give you the CD, can I take the record off your
right.
hands? And yeah,
Okay. Fair trade.
fair trade, right?
Okay. All right, cool.
So that's it, man. My top five.
Nice. All right, Caesar. What? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, like I have so many records. It was really, really hard to
Yeah.
narrow it down to the top five. So um if you had come, hit me up a month ago, maybe it would have been completely different, or
Right.
in another year or so, it would probably be completely different. So it
No,
was super fun,
it's an
though.
absolutely impossible task. I just like torturing
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, totally. It was fun, but I'm a masochist, right? So
Mm,
I like that
nice.
kind of torture. So
Gotcha.
thanks for the opportunity, man. Super
Oh yeah,
fun.
of course. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk soon.
All right, man.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Peace.
Peace.